Hello, and welcome to Part 5 of the demonstration for Unit 4, the Cisco Emergent Collaboration Project. The next thing we'd like to take a look at is looking at how we can not only provide the idea of location and team spaces, but also start to look at how might this expand in the future. The first thing that we'd like to take a look at is this idea of how would this integrate with the concept of network as the platform. How do we really, beyond just some basic unified communication hooks here, how can we really tie this to Cisco's overall network as a platform concept and make it extremely valuable both for customers and extremely strategic for Cisco? So let's take, for example, the idea that we showed previously. Within any individual space, I'm going to have content that's recommended to me and people that might be recommended to me. So let's take an example of something that people do on a regular basis. Myself and 8 or 10 people on my team might join a meeting place. We might set up a meeting place meeting and have a meeting place meeting. We may be able to record that meeting. We may be able to send the file around to people that we took a look at. We looked at a PowerPoint presentation, and that's great. Wonderful functionality within that great platform that scales very well. But what information are we able to glean from that meeting that could be useful to hundreds of other people? Well, let's sort of walk through an example of that. So, for example, all of these people may have been on this meeting place meeting, and Doug Walker may have been the expert. Now, in our current model of trying to define expert, Doug might have gone in and said, I'm an expert in this project called Core, and he wrote that into the Directory 3.0 application. And if somebody went looking for Core, they did a search on the word Core, they would find Doug as an expert. But how do we go ahead and validate that Doug's actually an expert? How do we make sure that his expertise may not have faded over time, that Doug's no longer working on that project? Well, we'd like to have a system that's going to be able to validate that information based on actual activities that people take that show that they have expertise or experience in the space. So let's get back to this meeting place example. In our system, we have the ability to take a look at not only who's interacting, but also the ability to, based on the things that they search for, the things that they do on a natural basis, the things they click on, to influence who gets recommended as people with expertise or experience. So let's expand that to look at meeting place. So let's take this meeting place, and let's say, for example, it goes on for X number of minutes, and for the most part, the meeting place system is able to give us statistics like, what was the title of the meeting? So we know, okay, it's associated with this Cisco reactive environment. We know the information that was presented. We know that PowerPoint presentation. We know some spreadsheets that were used, and we're able to capture that and put that into this space. So all that information is reusable by other people. Fine. The other things that we should be able to capture out of that, for example, are who are the top talkers. We can get all that information from the meeting place system, or in theory we could get it from the network based on number of packets, people who were talking the most. Now, if we could use that and imply, for example, if the meeting went on for 30 minutes and Doug actually spoke for 23 of those minutes, most likely Doug was the leader of the meeting, and there's a very high chance that Doug probably has expertise in this area. Now, if we could take that information and use that as a way to infer that Doug actually has expertise, as opposed to Doug simply stating that he has it, now I've got a much more relevant metric to determine that Doug has expertise. In addition, all of these other people that for the most part probably were passive listeners because they were learning something, they've all gained from this system. They're all at least 30 minutes smarter about this topic than they were 30 minutes ago. That information should be updated within the system as well, so that as these people are engaged with more and more activities, whether they're active or passive, the system is going to go ahead and credit them so that they are going to show up more and more as experts here. Now, are they going to be as expert or have as much experience as somebody like Doug? Maybe not. But they're going to have much more experience and expertise on this because of their involvement, because of their exposure to it, than somebody who has absolutely no exposure to it whatsoever. And when we think about find an expert, really what we're looking for, it would be great to find an expert, but it'd also be great to just find experience, because that experience, whether it's great or whether it's small, is going to help us move forward in the activity we're trying to solve, in the collaboration we're trying to solve. And those are the types of things that the Emergent Collaboration platform has built into it. We can't do all this functionality today. It really would be something that could happen in the future with an integration with some things around the VTG group. But the infrastructure is in place to be able to not only know people activities, content activities, and the relevance of those things, and be able to use those distinct actions that people take on a regular basis, the normal things they do, and be able to use those to influence the system, whether they influence the links, so the information that would be provided to us, the recommended content that's provided to us, or the people that are provided to us as people we should interact with. This really is the power of not only the platform, the way the platform was designed to be able to be dynamic and inclusive of multiple inputs, but it's also the power of how this type of platform can tie together a number of our unified communication platforms, as well as potentially eventually integrate business intelligence applications, and really become a strategic platform for Cisco as people and companies begin to use it on a regular basis. It's the place where they work on a regular basis, and those are the types of platforms that people and companies don't make changes to very quickly. It gives us strategic positioning within a customer's environment. It becomes business critical to what they work on, and it leverages our motto and our message of network as the platform.